So I'm just delighted to have Tashyra Jackson as our speaker this morning. Shy, which is how I know her, has been a resident of the La Crosse community for 21 years. She was born in Milwaukee and lived in Madison and then moved to La Crosse when she was a junior in high school. She's the third oldest of 8 children. She received her bachelor's degree from Viterbo University, where she studied business and psychology. She has 2 children, a daughter, Maria, and a son, Carter. And Maria did all her schooling here in the Crosse area, but it was very hard on her. This prompted her to seek more diversity immediately following graduation, and she now lives in Arizona. And the story of Maria in La Crosse was one of hardship for both Shy and Maria. And Shy's trying to stop the hardship from being her son's story as well. Shy is an advocate for her family and for many other people in the La Crosse community. Shy is the director of operations and co-founder of Hope Restores, which some of you may know as a resource center for African Americans. And she states she got into this line of work because she is passionate about helping people and passionate about equality. And quoting her words, "There is so much work to do, and we are so far from where we need to be. If we are going to experience equality in this area, it is necessary to consider all the connecting pieces in order to truly grasp the big picture. There are many systems in place that make it difficult for Black and brown people to succeed. Broken systems have created surmounting barriers for Black people with very little hope of resolution." It is Shy's belief that courageous conversations need to be had, and we must be brave enough to hold ourselves accountable for the parts we play in upholding broken systems. Most importantly, we all need to be proactive about being part of the conversation and then challenging our capacity to truly listen with the goal of understanding. So please welcome Shy.
Good morning. Good morning. I'm so honored to be here, regardless of the freshness I may or may not have on my face. I am fighting a bit of jet lag right now. I was blessed enough to go on my life's dream of a vacation, and I just got back from Bangkok a couple days ago. Ooh. And so I'm battling some jet lag. My mom actually, completely side note, but my mom came over to my house yesterday and she busted in and she started screaming, "Are you okay? Are you awake? Is everything okay in here?" And it's so not like me, because I am the person that gets up at 5 a.m. ready to go, ready to take on the world. I do my devotional early in the morning because I think that that is God's special time to spend time with me and just do relationship with me. And when I was not up at that time and all the lights on my house were still out, Mama came running. Mama came running. So I just celebrated my 42nd birthday, but when you are always their babies, you never outgrow being your mother's baby. So she came in busting. Thank you so much for having me here. I'm so appreciative of being able to be in this moment with you guys. The service today was absolutely beautiful. It goes to show that there's no small thing that you can do today that will not leave ripples and continue to matter tomorrow. I think I speak for all of us when I have the feels and the emotions of what it meant for those young kids to sit there and to stand in their truths. And I think that we are just as united today as we were yesterday as we will ever be, because God created us all exactly the same in his image. And so I think that we have work to do. I think that we will always continue to have work to do. And I think that there is homage to be shared and appreciated when you see that work that people do, because it's not easy. It's exhausting. It's exhausting and it's not easy. So I just want to say thank you guys for having me here. You could have had any money here. You could have done any service, but you chose to pay respect to the greats that came before us. So I thank you for letting me be a part of that with you today. So as Amanda said, I am one of the founders of Hope Restores. I go by Shy. So we do a lot of things at Hope Restores. Hope Restores was started out of a need for healing throughout the community. I don't know if you guys know or not, but this is a predominantly white community. Okay. I just didn't want to shock anybody. But as long as everybody is aware of that. But I think that that being said, it's not the same experience for you as it is for me, Jack. It's not the same experience for you as it is for my mom. It's not the same experience for your kids as it's been for my kids. Their days look different, and so you have different encouragement that you need to pour into one another as people walk through their days. I think that life in itself is a very difficult path, and you have to meet people where they are. And when it comes to your babies returning home from a simple day of school or a simple day of just existing in this community, there's words that you need to speak to them on their level. You need to speak words into their soul, things that you know that is going to pour into them, things that you know that is going to make them feel proud of who they are. You want to choose words that's going to allow them to walk in their truth and be proud in doing so without having to take away from who they are, and feel proud in the body and the shell that they've been granted to do life in La Crosse, and granted to do life in this planet as we know it. And Amanda hit on it with my daughter. It was a lot. There was a lot of that needing to pour into her. And I call my daughter, Maria is her name. I call her my sweet girl. She's my sweet girl, and it's because she's always been like this gentle, like free flowing spirit, and I used to worry about Maria, because I'd say, man, life is going to be so hard on you. Like you're not tough enough. You're not ready enough for this life. It's going to be so hard on you. And Maria is just like, oh, it's fine, Mom. It's all love. It's all right, Nick. Nick knows. It's just all love. Like Maria, she loves everyone, and that worried me about her, because I needed her to be tougher. I needed Maria to be tougher because I knew what life gave me. I knew that as smart as I was, and as well-spoken as I was, and as firm as I was in who I am, I knew that I was able to be that way because I had some fight in me. I had some bite in me. And Maria did not have any of those things in her. She was just so sweet in this flower child. And I would say, man, Lord, I don't know if she got switched at birth, but I need you to put that thing inside of her that gives her the fight that she needs when this world shows its teeth. I need Maria to know that it's okay to bite back, and so I always worried about Maria, but Maria did great. She went through La Crosse unchanged by what what was presented in front of her. And she, and I always called her my flower child. I said, man, you're a little bit different, kid. Like she was just always a little bit different because she was so like happy-go-lucky, and I was like armor on, ready to battle, like what came my way, and that was not my sweet girl at all. And but she was raised strong, and she was given everything that she needed. And I think that God does that. God gives us exactly what we need to get through that day, and that give us this day our daily bread. And that's what he blessed us with every single day. So Maria still grew up to be this sweet, loving person. And I was still me, but we still had this like harmony of differences, and Maria chose to move away because she was able to say in a very sweet way, I need more diversity. I don't regret what I went through, Mom, but I recognize that there's a different way to do it. And I love that about her. I love that she was able to say that. My daughter is biracial, and so she got a lot of the not quite accepted on this side, not fully accepted on that side. She was coming home with words that, I had to explain to her, what does it mean to be called an Oreo? What does it mean to be called a coconut? Like, what is it, having to have these like real conversations with her, and at the end of it, like this kid was so ahead of her time, and she says, oh, they're so ignorant. They don't even know. They don't even know. And that's a blessing on its own, because having a kid means wearing your heart outside of your chest, and it's walking around beating. And so I find myself in so much gratitude as I stand up in front of you guys and am able to deliver to you what we've been through and what Dr. King's fight meant for us and what it shows up as, and just how differently that perspective is. But it's all the same gratitude that comes to mind. So thank you for allowing me to be here. But this is all about celebrating Dr. King, celebrating who we are, celebrating the power of who we are. One of the things that I say all the time is that there's power in people. There's power in you, Irene. There is power in me, and we forget how powerful we are. But God says that we are created in His likeness. And so when you remember that it's more than just waking up and going through the day to day. As I watched you guys go through your service, and everything was so intentional. It was so intentional. You guys were speaking with purpose. You're speaking the things that you want to see to come. And I think that is such a beautiful thing, because I don't think that that's the way we walk through this life. I think that less of us walk through life with intention and with purpose. And I think that less of us walk through this life knowing the things that we're capable of and what's really in our control, that power of no, that power of boundaries, that power of we will not go on the same way we were walking in yesterday. And I think that that's a beautiful thing. And so it's a privilege to be here and share this space. And I thank you guys for letting me do that. At Hope Restores, a lot of the things that you guys are talking about in your service, we support a lot of the same things. We stand for unity because we recognize that we can't do this thing alone. There is so much hurt, but we can't do it alone. We recognize that there is a difference between the way that we walk through life, given the way we appear and how we look, but now is not the time to be divided. Now is the time to come together and recognize your strength in that. And we all have strength. We all have strength in there. And more than anything, if we lean on one another to pick up on those areas where we have weakness in, it's only a strengthening. We weren't meant to do life alone. I think that there's power in the body of the church, and we need to come together and we need to do that. And it's in this spirit of shared capacity and determination that fuels the work that we do at Hope Restores every single day. There's no time off from the fight that needs to happen, and the work is so important. And I think that there's a role for all of us to do. Dr. King didn't start his fight against racism. He built upon centuries of resistance by those who came before him. What made Dr. King unique was his ability to unite people across racial, economic, and social lines, using nonviolence, moral clarity to challenge a system that had been accepted for far too long. In essence, the world had been grappling with the acceptance and normalization of racism for millennia. Before Dr. King emerged as a transformative leader, his work marked as a pivotal moment in ongoing struggles for justice. But it was part of a much larger historical continuum, and I think that continuum is alive and well today. I think we can all agree that Dr. King's work is not done by a long shot. We try to adopt his work of unity at Hope Restores through healing, because at its core, I think that people just need to heal. There are things that you walk through in your life that you have no idea what I walk through in my life. Your healing looks different from my healing, but nevertheless, it's a healing that needs to happen. I will never know what it's like to walk in your shoes, brother, but I promise you that you will never know what it's like to walk in my shoes. You will never know what it is like to walk in my son's shoes, to raise a strong, proud, Black young boy in this world, in La Crosse's world, to say, I am blessed, and I thank you because you are blessed too, to raise a beautiful biracial daughter in this world that says, honey, it's okay to be soft, but I also need you to be a little hard. It's just, there's just differences, and it's all human. It's all human, and it's all the same. But one thing that I know for sure is that it is not my fight alone. It is not Dr. King's fight alone. It is all of our fights. We don't get to continue to wake up and be comfortable in the lives that we've built for ourselves. We don't get to, because it's not just about you. It is that we have to teach. We have to teach our kids, our babies, our grandparents, our grandbabies, our nieces and nephews how to love. We have to teach them how to make space to love other people. We have to teach them how to let go. We have to teach them that it is okay to not be submissive. We have to teach them that it is okay to open the doors to somebody with a stronger voice or a different opinion, because it only makes life better. And the last time I checked, God did not make any mistakes when he made you, when he made me. We were all created beautifully and wonderfully made. And so on that note, I need to teach my Carter, my son, my 12-year-old Black boy, that Black is beautiful, that your Black is needed in this world, that your Black brings harmony to what we have here. Do not shy away from who you are. Don't tuck it away. I don't want you to make yourself small in this predominantly America. That's what I'll call it. That's what I'll call it, because this is not an isolated area, right? It is a predominant America. And I want him to shine because him taking pride in who he is blesses other people in ways that he didn't know. But as long as I can have the courage and you can have the courage to just love, right? It's just love. If you can have the courage to teach love, preach love, and show love, then it gives permission to your neighbor, to your friends, to your sister, to somebody else to just do exactly the same. And I think that love gives way for amazing things to happen. And so, in this predominantly America, I think that that's exactly what Dr. King set out to do. He set out to preach on unity. He set out to show you that my black is beautiful, my darkness is beautiful, my mind is beautiful. I have things to offer to you that you may not have discovered yet. And I think that that is the truth that we need to continue to carry forward. That's the torch that Hope Restores has picked up. When we started Hope Restores, it was during a very strange time. You guys were weird. We were weird. It was COVID. I mean, it was COVID. Everybody was weird. My daughter was in her college ages. I didn't know what COVID meant, but I had put down a piece of masking tape. I put it out like right in front of the front door. And so when you come into my house, I would spray you with this is the truth circle. There is no judgment here. But I put down a strip of masking tape, and when you come into my house, I would spray you with a steamer because I didn't know what you were bringing into my house. I didn't know my defenses. I didn't know how to fight against COVID, but I knew what was on the other side of that barrier. I knew how to fight for that. And so whether it was fighting the wrong way or I brought the wrong tool or the wrong weapon, I was willing to fight for that. And so my daughter and her roommate would come over because that's what poor college students do. They come over and they go grocery shopping in your house, right? So all the stores, the shelves are empty, and Maria and her roommate would come over, and we know they're going to do it. So I grocery shopped for my house. I grocery shopped for my broke daughter and her roommate that was going to come over and go grocery shopping, right? And when they came over, they would have to get sprayed. And Maria and her roommate came over one day, and she was so excited to see her brother because there was so much isolation going on that she hadn't seen him for a while. And she goes, "Carter fish." And she goes to hug Carter, and Carter goes, "Mom, Mom, Maria's reaching for me. Have you sprayed her yet? Have you sprayed her yet?" And I jumped to and I grabbed the steamer because I knew she was coming. And so the steamer was going, and I grabbed the steamer and I go, "I got it, baby." And I start to steam and everything. And I burnt a personal part on her roommate. And her roomie goes, "Oh, Maria, what is happening?" And I was like, "Oh, I'm so sorry, sweetheart, but stand still. I still need to steam you." But I think that's a lot of what is still true for today. No matter what life has thrown at us, there will always be a need for people. There's always going to be a need for people. There's always going to be a need for connection. When Hope Restores started, it was because there was a need for connection. There was a need for people. Dr. King, he could have just said, "You know what? Let's build our own. Let's keep to ourselves. You take that side, we'll take this side." But there's a need for people and there's a need for connection. So while we can do it separate, because that was even the way he started. It was separate but equal. I don't know if you guys remembered that, but when he started, it was separate but equal, separate but equal. And that changed. That changed because there's a need for people. I don't want to do this life separate but equal. I don't want to do it apart from you. I want to do it with you. Dr. King wanted to do it with you. I want my babies to do this life with your babies. I don't want my babies to have separate but equal. I don't want them to have a different version of what can be, because I think God has created something that is so magnificent, something that was so powerful that we can do it together. We can do this life together. We can have this beautiful thing together. And I want that for my babies. I want that for my grandbaby. It doesn't need to be separate but equal. And I think that as long as we can remember what this thing is all about, it keeps us fighting for more than one day out of the year, more than 1 month out of the year. Does that make sense? Black history is no more 1 month of a celebration as history is just history. It just is what it is. You can't separate something and then expect for people to feel proud about themselves all year round. You know what I mean? You can't. I want to say it like I mean it. You can't take $11 other months and then expect for someone to feel equal and valued the rest of the year. Dr. King did so much work laying out such a beautiful blueprint of how we march forward. But I think that more than anything, he left breadcrumbs, simple breadcrumbs of how we do this thing called life with each other every day. Courage. It took courage for him to scream nonviolence. It took courage for him to walk out nonviolence. I don't know about you guys, but I'm human and I'm petty. So when you cut me off, let alone spit at me, I don't know if I can do nonviolence, right? Like, I'm new to this. I ain't true to this. So you spit at me, we might have a few more conversations to be had. That is a strength. That is a brother that had some divine knowledge ahead of his time. And we are not all there. But he's just speaking the courage to hold back, the courage to bring somebody else in, the courage to have restraint, to hold back. How does courage show up in your lives today? How are you utilizing, how are you growing your courage today? Empathy and compassion. That's what Dr. King was demonstrating. He was demonstrating how to have compassion for one of your brothers and sisters that have wronged you. He was demonstrating how to have empathy for what somebody might be going through. It may not be your story, but it doesn't mean that it's not your story. Because wake up if you don't think that we are all connected. And that's all he was teaching. And the same thing holds true for us today. How are you utilizing your empathy? How are you showing your compassion? How are you challenging your empathy and your compassion? How do you walk that? How are you walking out your empathy and compassion today? Vision and purpose. I got a dream, right? What's your dream? Do you dare? Do you dare to dream? Do you dare to have a dream? Do you dare to envision a place where it is not predominantly anything? Do you dare to have that dream that a person that doesn't look like you can walk in a room and you can embrace one another? Do you dare that? I think Dr. King's saying, I dare you. Because dreams didn't start and end with him. But I sure do think that he wants us all to pick up that torch and continue to dare to dream. Resilience and perseverance. He showed that. He demonstrated that. He showed us how to sit in one place and be taunted. He showed us how to sit in one place and not be the first pick. I've sat in a lot of places and not been the first pick. In a lot of places. I've tried so hard. I have prettied myself up to be the first pick, to be accepted, to be quiet, to be non-challenging. I've tried to make myself small to be the first pick. There has been times that I thought I did so good at being the first pick that the compliment that came out was, "You're really pretty for a Black girl." I've worked so hard at being the first pick that I have accepted silly questions like, do Black people have to wash their hair? Or you're a different Black person. You're different. You're cool. You get it. You get it. And as I got older, I realized that it hurt. It hurt. It hurt more when I got older than it did when I was younger, listening to those things and receiving those things, because I didn't want to be the disruptor. I wanted to be the first pick. I wanted to be the one that was accepted, the one that fit in. But it hurt more because the older I got, the more I realized that people are just people. And I am just as much as a person as you are, the same blood, the same heartbeat. I am just as much deserving. And then I started to think about, why did you let them get away with saying that to you? And then I started to beat up on myself. And there was nothing to do. I couldn't go back. I couldn't change it. And so that was hurt and trauma that you carry with you through the ages. You carry with you. You're angry about those things. You want to know, how do I fix that? How do I go back and I tell that person, you don't get to talk to me like that. You know what? I'm not just beautiful for a Black girl. I am just beautiful. Period. Right? But that's the resilience that was starting to kick in, because I could let go of that anger and I could let go of that fear, because those moments did not define me. I was still everything that was spoken over me, but I was all of those things. Hold your validation because I don't need it. But it took time to get there. It took time to get there. And that is the resilience and the perseverance that Dr. King talked about, that he preached about on all of his levels, except that he preached on it on a level of, I hope I can teach you about resilience before your baby gets put in that position that they have to learn it the hard way. Teach your children to be kind to my children before they get put in the position that they hurt somebody or they wound someone with their words. People are powerful. Your words are powerful. Teach your babies to love my babies, because that is the world that makes a beautiful place. And if they can learn it before someone gets traumatized, before someone has to walk through their years and they have to climb through their decades and their high school and their college into their adulthood and finally learn, wait, my beauty is not by your standards. I was beautiful before your ignorance ever left your mouth. Resilience and perseverance. That is what Dr. King was speaking on. Those are the leaders that he was trying to raise. Those are the leaders that he was trying to inspire then. Those are the leaders that we still need today. Those are the leaders that we hope to bring out, that we hope to give permission to, for people to walk in their truth at Hope Restores on all levels, because I think that leadership does not happen when you become traumatized as an adult. I think leadership happens at the womb. I think leadership happens when you come into this world where you are most needed. I think God does not make mistakes. I think that God makes you beautifully and wonderfully made, exactly who you are, and he puts something inside each one of us that says you have the right to shine bright. You have the right to shine boldly. And I think that that's the leadership that Dr. King wants us to walk with. I think that's what he was trying to inspire. I think that's what he was trying to give permission to. That's the perseverance. That's what he wants us to stand in, that truth. And I think that the more of us that stand in that truth, the easier it becomes.